Meteos Disney Magic came out on Nintendo DS in 2007, less than 2 years from the original title, which was also released on Nintendo DS. I did a previous video about the first Meteos game, link in the description, I wanted to talk about this follow-up. I have seen online of Meteos Disney Magic viewed as a sequel to Meteos, but others consider it as a spin-off. Since the first game has its unique themes, even story, and since this title doesn't add much besides a Disney makeover, I would definitely consider it as a spin-off. Without diving into the game's credits, I think different people worked on this installment of Meteos. I did see that Q Entertainment is listed as a developer. They also developed the first Meteos game, but did see additional developers such as Aspect Co. and Platinum Egg. Also, it has a different publisher, Univista Games, but I see this on a wiki online, so I'm not completely sure of these facts. Meteos Disney Magic, for the most part, plays like the original game, with the core gameplay is matching 3 or more blocks to blast them off the screen. There are some differences with Disney Magic. One of the main ones is that in this game you hold the Nintendo DS sideways. The first Meteos game did have themes based off aliens and planets, and of course this one is based off Disney properties. Part of the gimmick of Disney Magic is that it's storybook theme, so I think that was a design choice to hold the DS like a book to play off that theme. It's a neat touch, and besides Brain Age, I can't think of any other titles for the DS that change up the way you actually hold the handheld. Because of this, the game can only be played through touch controls versus the first game that allowed the option to use the D-pad and buttons instead of touch controls. Most would agree, myself included, that touch controls is the best way to play Meteos, but thought it was worth mentioning. Also, since the DS is held sideways, the game does have option to accommodate if you're left or right-handed. One big difference with Meteos Disney Magic is that now blocks can be moved horizontally instead of just vertically, which I think is an improvement and allows more flexible gameplay. One last unique gameplay mechanic is using special abilities, although there's only 2 to use, one to slow down falling blocks, and a nitro boost that affects how blocks blast off. There is a meter that builds up over time and you can use these abilities when they are ready. A thing to note is that the game punishes you score-wise when using these abilities. So besides these tweaks to the gameplay, the biggest difference is of course the Disney themes. I would say I enjoy Disney movies and such, but not a huge fan. However, I can enjoy the look of this game and appreciate it, but I can see how it can be a big turnoff to others. When I first checked out Meteos Disney Magic, I felt like it was just the baby version of the first game and about to write it off as a disappointing sequel. I didn't realize this till later that I was missing a big part that affects the gameplay, causing blocks to drop faster. I thought it was strange that it was missing until I looked it up. I found out that the only way to do that in Disney Magic is by using the D-pad or A button, depending on how the DS is held. This confused me at first because in the first Meteos game, you can speed up falling blocks by touching a corner of the touchscreen, and also using button options too. I first thought that Meteos Disney Magic might have cut this option out to make the game more easier for a younger audience. Since this game is plastered with Disney, it does make sense that most of the kids would want to play this one. But once I figured that out, the game was much more enjoyable and plays pretty much like the classic games with a few tweaks. Now to get more into the Disney aspect of the game. Instead of the aliens in the original games, the themes are based off Disney movies, mostly animated movies such as The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, and Cinderella. There's also Toy Story, as for some reason, Pirates of the Caribbean. One thing that I thought was cool was that the Lilo and Stitch themes also makes references to spin-off movies and cartoons as well as the main movie. Not only do these themes affect the look of the blocks and how the level plays, but they also provide a scene on the opposite screen, which changes if the player is doing good or bad. This game pretty much has the same modes as the original Meteos title. A difference is the story mode, which was called Star Trip in Meteos, gives different objectives for each round. The original was just a series of versus matches against the computer, but Disney Magic has missions like blast a certain amount of blocks or survive for a certain amount of time. There is a challenge mode which allows you to choose a theme and customize the objective. Like the first game, Meteos Disney Magic also has multiplayer modes. It also includes the option for DS download play. So if friends didn't own their own copy of the game, they can do that instead, which I always thought was a cool feature of the Nintendo DS. To compare gameplay of Meteos to Meteos Disney Magic, it's hard to put my finger on it since they play so similar. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I feel like the gameplay of Disney Magic feels heavy and clunky. A downside of Disney Magic is its soundtrack. For the most part, it's fine, and most of the music is recognizable, but feels very lacking. For some themes, I wish they made better song choices. What's also lacking is the amount of Disney. There's a total of 9 storybooks, which represent a Disney property such as a movie or cartoon. Most storybooks have 2 stages, so there's 2 different scenes for each one. I don't see why they didn't add a lot more Disney in this Disney-themed game. Keeping in mind that this game did come out in 2007, it does feel like a lot of Disney was left out of it. They could have themes based off Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Tarzan, Hercules, Mulan, and a whole lot more. I'm not sure if it was due to limitations of the DS cartridge or licensing issues, but it feels crazy that this game lacks on the Disney variety. I would rather have 1 scene instead of 2 for each Disney property if it meant having more. With Disney being one of the main selling points and appeals of the game, it feels like a big letdown that it's really lacking in the Disney department. So my final thoughts of Meteos Disney Magic and comparing it to the original title, it's still a very fun game that's true to the series and adds some new tweaks to it. However, I will strongly prefer the original Meteos over Disney Magic. It's hard for me to describe exactly, but the gameplay just feels better on the original Meteos game, plus I really like its presentation a whole lot more, given that I do enjoy Disney stuff as well. If you enjoy Meteos, or puzzle games in general, as well as Disney, this is a fun mashup that's definitely worth checking out. As somewhat of a Disney fan, and growing up on the Disney movies, I would say it's a big letdown that this game is very lacking with the Disney properties. It's a neat game overall, and a solid puzzle game, but I find it to be somewhat of a disappointing spin-off to Meteos and could have been a lot better than it was. Thanks for checking out my video about Meteos Disney Magic. Again, a link to my video about the first Meteos game is in the description of this video. The best way to support me and the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments what you think about Meteos Disney Magic or the Meteos series as a whole. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Bye.